hope the YouTube is kinder tonight than it was on Saturday. Saturday was a nightmare. The gremlins came into play and there was nothing I could do about it because I'm not a technical wizard. Anyway, we're going live now on the Facebook. Well, hi, it's Billy Slaven. Thanks for joining me on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And thanks as always to the sponsors, Galaxy Blinds, Cleveland Systems Engineering, Cornerstone Business Solutions, Advanced Utility Solutions, Borough Museum, RWTA, that's Richard Wills Training Associates, TGM Cars. Thanks each and every one of them for their support and backing. And Friday, some that we talk about North East football, but I usually get the majority of Middlesbrough because obviously I'm a Middlesbrough former player and fan. And Friday, Sunderland grabbed a great away point at Burnley. Saturday, Middlesbrough lost the game they were expected to win against Huddersfield, but we'll get no doubt talking about that. Hartlepool took all 3 points against Swindon, great result. I think they were losing 1-0, came back and won a couple, 2-1. Darlington lost 2-1 at home to Chester, disappointing for Darlington. And yesterday, Newcastle United turned over Manchester United at St James's Park. Look, there were league positions. Newcastle's 4th, Middlesbrough's 3rd, Sunderland's 12th, Hartlepool's 23rd, and Darlington's 5th. So that's how the North East clubs, how they favour so far. Not many games left. I mean, but look, I'm looking at Middlesbrough. Saturday, we've been terrific since Carrick's arrival. There's been a couple of blips along the way, and you're going to get that. Sunderland comes to mind, losing up there in the Derby game, losing at West Bromwich Albion, getting walloped with Brighton, but they're a Premier League team. That was a different competition. That was a cup. And then on Saturday, 1-0 up against a guy who everybody in Teesside now portrays as boring, laborious, long ball merchant. And all those qualities were either on view or lacking on Saturday in the first half. You know, we controlled the pace of the game. We kept possession. At times we were not exactly showboating, but look, a wee bit cocky and a wee bit arrogance. Nothing wrong with that. Then we scored a goal just before half time. Then you think it's a formality. We're going to go on and beat them here. So we're getting 1-0 at half time, and lo and behold, 30 seconds in, we're one each. Then they score 3 in 12 minutes, and then it's an absolute whitewash. You know, what went wrong? I don't know. The defence was up. The defence, I mean, people cherry picking one player, he was poor and he's poor. I'm not buying into that. The whole team defensively were poor. There was holes all over the park. What a sieve. Gaps, holes, defending was amateurish. And at the end, we got what we deserved in the second half. We absolutely, totally torn to shreds. Neil Warnock, I've seen a few quotes for him. He says that Middlesbrough more or less will still make it. His wee quote and his wee jibe was at our Middlesbrough Chief Executive, Neil Bowser, where he says, I was delighted to see Neil Bowser, Borough's Chief Executive, sitting in the stands watching that. That was a wee dig, obviously. Reading between the lines, he said a lot of tales to tell Neil Warnock since his departure, especially in national radio. And he says that at the time he gets sacked via a phone call. He went back to the training ground at Haworth, trying to clear his desk, and he wasn't allowed in with a security guard. I mean, for me, that was class, as I wouldn't support the club I support on those grounds. I think a 72-year-old man who's been in the game 40 years deserves to be told to his face that he's off. And hey, there's no doubt he'd have wound his players up on Saturday, big time. You know, and I couldn't believe it. I was watching second half. A Neil Warnock team who doesn't score a lot of goals, who when he last got promoted, his top scorer was 10 in a season. Incredible. At least Chuba got one up him, yeah. Great header, but it was a consolation. But it was a great header for Chuba. Another goal to his goal scoring tally, and there's still games to go. So that was good. Newcastle United watched a glimpse yesterday against Man United. I thought Newcastle United totally bossed it, closed them down, harassed them, scored a couple of goals. Newcastle were all over the shop. I didn't watch the Sunderland game, it was a draw, but that's a good draw for my old mate Tony Mowbray against High Flyers. Hartlepool, I heard they were getting beat 1-0. Rice Singh was there a week on Friday, supporting Gary Pattinson in charity night. So I was wanting to do well for Rise, and he's made another change, of course. And they got it. You know, well done, Hartlepool. I think they were getting beat 1-0 and come back 1-2-1. So great 3 points, still in the bottom 2. So still not looking good. And Darlington, well, they're 5th, aren't they? Michael Kitson says, I'd have liked to have been a fly in the wall in the Huddersfield changing rooms at half time. Must have been inspiring. Yeah, I thought that myself. Obviously, that's yeah, no, you're right. I'm thinking Middlesbrough. Yeah, Michael Kitson. I'm sure you're a Borough fan, Michael. I know you. Yeah, I'd have liked to have been a fly in the wall in Huddersfield to see what one actually said, to get his team up for it, to come out and put in a shift like they did. I didn't think they were capable of it. It was typical Neil Warnock, everybody behind the ball, nullify things, close the opposition, i.e. Middlesbrough, don't let them play, don't let them lift their heads. When we get it, just hoof it forward, Wimbledon style many years ago when I played, over the top, get Paddy and company turning, and they did that fairly well up to the 43rd minute, and then they conceded a goal. It was a fine goal from your point of view. Foz eventually finished a good move. But then second half, he must have given him a rollicking. Don't forget, he's old-fashioned. Some of these players, they won't know what's hit them with Warnock walking in. You know, he's one of them at face-to-face, rock it up your arse, you need to perform, or you're not going to be in the tea. He'll give them it. Whereas, by all accounts, Michael Carrick, according to Tuber a few weeks ago, is like Wenger, very cool, very composed. I think both styles work. And every player's different. I needed a bit up the arse. I needed a manager that was strong and going to give me it and shout at me and aggressively. I responded to that. I didn't want somebody that was soft and nice, and everybody's different. There's no right way or wrong way. It's called my management. You need to know your players, know the players' makeup, and then you know how they respond. If there's a guy you think's a bit timid, you don't roll at him, you go in and calm things down. If there's a guy like myself, you say, he's going to get it. Bernie, sad to hear Andy Campbell losing the Middlesbrough women's job today. Do you know, I've just seen that before I come on, Keith. Yeah, Andy Campbell, he was at the charity do as well for Parky. And I've just read that before I come on here. Andy Campbell was in charge of the Middlesbrough women's, the women's, ladies. Are you allowed to say women? You're not allowed to say men. The Middlesbrough team. Andy Campbell was in charge of the women, and he's lost his job. Don't know why. I'll be honest, I don't know whether they're sitting in the league or how they've been doing. But yeah, it's like, I think, as far as I knew, Andy was enjoying it, and I thought everybody was doing well. Dave Saunders says, Bernie, he must play Fry ahead of McNair, but I do believe we're capable of beating Burnley on Friday at the Riverside. It'll be bouncing. I agree, Dave. For those that don't know, you might be a North East fan, think don't give a hoot about Middlesbrough, but I'm watching this for my own team. Middlesbrough play Burnley, who are chasing to win the championship. So they'll be coming to, they turned us over down there. We took the lead and they turned us over. It's going to be a great game. I think there'll be a great crowd, possibly capacity. Surely Middlesbrough fans, surely we can fill the Riverside. I'm not Middlesbrough's PR man, by the way, but there must be a massive crowd. The last crowd, I think, was 28,000. Surely we can hit 30, 34 and a half, 35. That's capacity for such a big game on a Friday, an Easter Friday. I think it'd be great atmosphere. And why can't we beat them? Regarding Fry, I think Fry will come back in. I think McGree will come back in. And that'll be the only changes. And Saturday, some people are saying, oh, he should make wholesome changes. No. I think Carrick's done the business because we've kept the same team in the main, barring a tweak here and there. Once you start going wholesome changes, for me, it doesn't work. Seen it with Wilder, seen it with Warnock. Their styles were different, but chopping and changing all the time just for the sake of it, I don't buy into that. The continuity for me is the key as to where we are today, is because Carrick's picked the same team in the main, and the team's responded, and they become telepathic. They look as if they're enjoying it. Poor performance all over the pitch, definitely targeted McNair. Stuart Gourley. But Stuart, the amount of people that criticised McNair on Saturday, I watched the whole game. McNair wasn't good, but no, you tell me who was good in that defence. Would Fry have come in and made any difference when we get beat 4? No, because right back, left back, centre back, 2 centre backs, they were all poor. Everybody was poor. Picking McNair, I think, it's one of the Whitman boys, you know, a scapegoat. Had them when I played, they used to sing certain players' names. They were the Whitman boys. And I didn't like that. It's a team game. It's a team game, but on Saturday, the team didn't perform. If Paddy was poor, the whole back line were poor. The midfield was poor. Howson, I only seen him getting a kick. I honestly had to check to make sure that he was on the team sheet. And Howson's one of our star performances. I'm a fan of Johnny Howson. He's a great professional. 34, still fit as, closes down, disrupts things, plays the ball simple. So everybody should carry the can defensively as a unit. No cherry picking one player because Fry should have been in. I agree with that, but I agree. Carrick's changed the 2 centre backs since he's come in. There was one that Dale was out suspended after the Sunderland game. Paddy came in, played very well. I think he even got a goal, and then all of a sudden Fry walks back in, and I think, well, I don't see why. But anyway, that's the manager. He gave the reason why he dropped McGree or on the bench. McGree was ill. He'd been in international duty and had a bug, so that's what he said about that. Andy's team sat 9th and have Leeds at home next, right? Okay. Hey, every manager's getting a sack these days. Every manager. Brendan Rodgers, by the way, I've heard the players that's played under him, great coach. Great coach. I blame the hierarchy at Leicester. They sold the keeper, didn't they? Sold Schmeichel. He was one of the biggest characters and great goalkeeper, international goalkeeper. They sold him. They sold a few others, and every week when you seen Rodgers getting interviewed, he just looked pissed off. And inevitably, he's getting sacked. The Harry Potter at Chelsea. He had to be Harry Potter. The amount of players that's come in, he's not really picked them. The director of football or whatever spent fortune, millions and millions and millions of pounds, brought all these players in. By all accounts, I've got a 40-man squad. How can you coach them? How can you manage 40-odd players? And a lot of them big names. And no doubt big egos. I seen something that I heard somebody the other day saying that, you know, to go to the likes of Chelsea, you need a big character. I would agree with that. I look at Potter. He looks a nice guy, methodically. He looks as if, well, he knows the game and he's highly rated in the coaching world by all accounts. Did brilliant elsewhere, but coming to Chelsea with those big egos, big, massive money, big crowds under the spotlight worldwide. I think you need a big character. You look at Mourinho and guys like that. You need big egos to manage them. And I think they've just swallowed them up and spat them out. But it's ludicrous how the hierarchy at Chelsea bring him in. What is it, 6-7 months down the line? All this money's been spent and he's gone. Some building programme that. Colin Ipson, hi Colin. I think that bloody international break broke the momentum. As the song goes, it's Fry. At T back and McGree. Fry's back and McGree needs to play. We pick ourselves up and move on. We do. Listen, Saturday, defensively we were awful. I'm not going to sit here and say anything. We were garbage. And the team will know that. But we've been terrific on the eye. And it's been great to watch after years of suffering watching long ball, negative, square back passes galore at Middlesbrough. We're playing some great stuff. Saturday, I don't know what happened. I just hope the bottles haven't gone or going because we're in this is it now. This is the countdown now. I don't think it has. I'm sure that'll be a one-off. But yeah, it was just concerning because we've got some massive games coming up. You know, we've mentioned it before. I mean, we've got Burnley. They're looking to win the championship. Then we've got Bristol away. They have nothing really to play for. They're like mid-table. And then you've got Norwich. They're chasing the top 6. Hull City, well, they're nothing to play for. Luton won on Saturday. They're level with us. They're looking to finish above us. Rotherham's fighting relegation because they've got something to play for. And Coventry, I was going to say the last game, but it won't be. We'll win the playoffs, hopefully. I'm sure we will. Coventry are still trying to chase that top 6 spot. So, out the remaining games, there's only 2 that's nothing to play for. The rest of it's something to play for, like us. Obviously, different reasons, but Neil Warnock's Blue and White Army, Philip Steve, man. Hey, credit to you. I didn't think you had it in your locker. I didn't think a Wilder team could produce such a magical second half and play with a bit of craft and skill and guile and score goals like they did. You know, the first half, if he says, guess what manager's in charge, I'd have went for Pulis, Warnock or Karanka. Boring, long balls. But this, the way he's come out the second half, was unbelievable. But what was also unbelievable was how bad we were defensively. I mean, there was lads walking through 4 or 5 players. It was ridiculous. Even Graham Potter also going, managers never get time. I says that. I mean, you need Harry Potter, Keith, but yeah, Graham Potter looked a nice guy, loads of money, probably didn't bring the majority in it, probably the guys above him. And now he's just been, see you later. Tuchel, I was a massive fan of Tuchel. Tuchel won 2 or 3 trophies in a couple of years and then disappeared overnight. What was that about? I thought Tuchel was ideal. Neil Whitley, hiya Neil. Evening Bernie, Newcastle United's passion and belief against United was unbelievable. Eddie Howe getting the team to click. The Geordies were rocking. Hope we can do something similar against Burnley, who, to be fair, have been far better than anyone this season. Well, they have been, Neil. I mean, they've scored more goals than anybody else in the division. We're second, so that's to our credit that we've scored a lot of goals. But they're a top side. There's no doubt in that. That's why they're up there. It's just a matter of next few games they'll be looking to be promoted, and they deserve it. They've been brilliant. But hey, I'm looking for a big response in Friday night. I think, is it on the television as well? Is that why it's 8 o'clock on the Friday? But whatever, it's going to be a great game, great atmosphere, bit of pressure on. Well, both teams, but we're looking to bounce back. And we've not, when we have been beaten, whether it be West Brom or Brighton Hove Albion in a cup or whatever, we've always responded the next game. So looking for a response. As I say, I think Fry will come back in, and I think McGree will start. The players will want to prove point on Friday. I think big performance needed for Stuart. Oh, big performance needed. I don't think there's any ifs or buts. I think the players will go. If I'm a player, I've played in, and by the way, I've played in some crap games like that. Don't worry about that. So if that's me, you're on the team bus, you're on your way back, moaning and groaning, everybody's getting hammered. You're hammering the defence is hammering the forwards, and then you cannot wait till Saturday, or Friday rather, to roll your sleeves up. I want to go out and get a goal. Or if I'm Chuba, I want to get another goal. And the other boys who've been crap defensively are saying, do you know what? We're going to get a clean sheet tonight. Get that intention and strive for it. So I'd be looking forward to Friday more than anything. Stephen Matthew Frost, we got to think how far we have come. Playoffs, hopefully, go up. Been good to watch. Can't win them all, pal. I agree with that as well. We've come a long way since Michael Carrick came in. Where we are up until last week, but it's still a possibility. The Borough fans had his top 2. I've never went along with that because I still think Sheffield United 6 points with a game in hand now, so I think they're back to where they wanted to be, and I think we're going to be in the playoffs. Hand in hand, I think we're going to be in the final at Wembley, possibly against Luton. I think Luton's there like the dark horses. They've just crept up there. Nobody's really mentioned them. They're level with us now. And then it's on the day who performs. Bernie, if we end up in the playoffs, who worries you? Paul Livingston. Well, I've mentioned Luton. Probably Luton, because they're the London boys, aren't they? They're based down there. Wembley, notoriously has not been a happy hunting ground for Middlesbrough. I mean, I went there first time in Middlesbrough's history in 1990 against Chelsea, full house, full Members' Cup. No, was it the full Members' Cup? It was some cup. Zenith Cup. It attracted full house. People don't know the competition now, it's gone. But so that was us. We get beat 1-0, Tony Duyo free kick, and then Robbo had a couple of cup finals there. Never happened. I mean, the only cup we have won, the League Cup, the Carling Cup, was in Wales. But sure, it's time for a change. Then we went to a playoff final with Aitor Caraita, beat Norwich, barely put my arse in the seat, and we were a goal down. Ray Watkinson says, Saturday, just silly goals. No silly, ridiculously silly. McNair-Lennon partnership doesn't work for me, but I understand the thinking on Saturday. Carrick knew we'd have lots of the ball, gambled with our two most forward-thinking centre-backs. Nathan Williams says, evening Bernards. Evening Nathan, I might be called Bernard. Only on Sundays, but ask any Borough fans 6 months ago if they would take playoffs, they would have snapped your hand off. Borough, best team in them playoff spots, and would fancy them to come through it. It's always unpredictable. On to the next one, forget what's gone, can't change it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The other one that comes to mind was it playoff semi-finals. We went under Tony Pulis, we played Wolves. We didn't perform that night. Grealish is a Manchester City star who 100 million. Always says he would settle down and get in the Pep way. By God, he was great on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was. But I remember going that night. I actually made the journey down there, and we never performed. Wolves were too good on the night. Friday and Monday, both in Sky, right? Not a playoff fan, never have been, but it's what it is. Yeah, it's another money spinner. It's another money grabbing project. Keith says, heard Potter cost Chelsea 21 million to bring in and 60 million to let go. Shocking how the money troubles are now paying this. This amount of money troubles now paying this when other clubs struggle to make ends meet. Ludicrous. Yeah, it's unbelievable. You can get more getting paid off than you can for signing. As I say, I played with a guy called Andy Ritchie. He played for Morton. He was the guy that took me to Albion Rovers and let me play the role he played at Morton. And he always says to me, when I was about 18, he used to give me a lift and he'd say, Bernard, it's the only profession that pays to be a failure. And it is. Look at managers on that merry-go-round. They get sacked, they jump on board the merry-go-round. Another boatload of money. They get paid off for the club that they've failed. They get a boatload of money off them for see you later because there's still a year or two to run. They go to the next club, they get another boatload of money. And it just goes on and on and on. Like footballers. Footballers get sold. Some are crap. Look at Sombalonga. 5 goals. Cost us 15 million at Middlesbrough. 5 goals his last season, ended up in Turkey. Boatload of money. Don't know what he got, but I bet he's a couple of million just for signing. Because Middlesbrough get nothing. Zenith Data System, that was it. Ian Plumpton, hi Ian. Hello Bernard, promotion in the top 2 or promotion through the playoffs will be major achievement considering where we were when Carrick took charge. Without a doubt, Ian. But I always think grasp the nettle while you can, and we're in a great position. We've been doing brilliant. Saturday hopefully is a one-off, but we've been terrific on the eye. Played good football, scored loads of goals. And I'm just hoping we get promotion this year, because if we don't, I fear that half the team will disappear overnight. The loan players will all go back to the parent club. Chubarachpom will be under the radar of a lot of clubs with the season he has had. No doubt we get more money than what we paid now, probably treble, quadruple, but there's no good getting that amount of money if we don't spend it. I don't know the financial structure of the club. I never get involved in that. So I'm hoping we grasp it now. I don't want to hear, we've had a good season. We have had a good season. Irrespective of where we end up, we've had a good season. Without a doubt. Enjoyed it thoroughly. But I don't want this rubbish and nonsense and bullshit. we're not ready for the we'll do it next season. We've said that for 13 years. It's like a broken record. We say the same old tosh. Borough will end Burnley's run on Friday. Bernard, Nathan Williams. The season has been great. I still think we go up. Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. Let me read a few of these out. As I say, the reason I made it 10 tonight, I was going to make it 7. I know people have got work, and I get that totally, especially people abroad, different time zones and all that. But a lot of football on this week, and tonight, Tottenham were playing Everton, weren't they? And I thought a lot of people might want to watch that, so I just put it back. Bernie, this is for Jim. Bernie, just watched your YouTube clip of Parky night you put on today. Fantastic, emotional, passionate. The turnout was amazing. Yeah, so what Jim's talking about, I've got a YouTube channel, the Bernsley YouTube channel. I put a host of things there over the last year, and the latest one, which took a bit of uploading or downloading, whatever way you wanted to say it, but I put it on tonight. And if you're, I've put on my Twitter that, if you're a young Middlesbrough fan, get to know the history of your club, watch it, because it is emotional, it's passionate. And when we're talking about this team played in '86, and if you hear the fans and watch it, and hear the fans and the emotions, and the passion and the singing for the lads that they'd watched when they were youngsters, it's incredible. I don't think anybody can replicate that in Middlesbrough. Jack Charlton's team, they're up there. But because we went through the third, second, first scenario, liquidation, bankruptcy, I think these fans look at us as these guys were loyal, they were successful, and we were. But we done it for a few years, wasn't it? We weren't a one-season wonder. You need to keep it going. It's like somebody mentioned Trouba on Saturday, saying, what about Trouba? You know, is he up there with the big names, the top strikers in Middlesbrough's history? Of course he's not. One season. It's brilliant. He's been fantastic. Great guy. Met him. If you've not watched it, you can watch it, backtrack on podcast, whatever. You can watch it visually. You can listen to it, audio stuff. But it's one season. One season. I remember Blackburn Rovers moved the centre-half, I think it was under Dalglish, moved the centre-half up front, and the centre-half scored like 20-odd goals. Somebody check it out while I'm doing this. I'd like to know his name. He was a long-haired guy. He was a centre-half. I don't know if it was Shearer. Somebody was injured, so they went, was it a guy called Walhurst? Walhurst? Something like that. Anyway, they put him up front, and he scored like 20-odd goals. But would they have continued to do that? No chance. No chance. Because what happens, when you do the business, the next season, you're under every team's radar. They know your style, they know your movement, they know your favoured foot, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And then they start to expose and exploit. And it gets tougher. Every year it gets tougher. That's how you look at guys like Harry Kane. Amazing. I heard Harry Kane, before I come on here, I didn't watch it, I was listening to it. Harry Kane seemingly, did he fake injury or something? The lad gets sent off. That's your England captain. I've not seen it, so I can't really comment, but I've listened to a well-respected pundit, and he says that, who's English, by the way, and he says that it was more or less criminal getting a player sent off. Stuck on a 7-hour delay at Leeds Bradford. Bernard, everybody's calling me Bernard. Ray Wilkinson. Thank you for being amazing, the amount raised for Parky. Thank you very much, and I hope the delay picks up and you're on your way wherever you're going, Ray. Tell us where you're going, Ray. I'm intrigued. So he's stuck on a 7-hour delay at Leeds Bradford. Yeah, if you don't know, the amount raised, there's still a few things to be picked up, and there's still money to be exchanged. But I was saying to him, I don't deal with the finance. My missus and Tony, my mate, who deals in loads of charities, they deal with the finance, but they're talking about roughly £75,000 we've made for Gary Patterson's 24-hour care. So amazing. But it's a collective thing. Everybody, you know, who donated raffle prizes, who donated auction prizes. I mean, Mackenzie thought painting went for £22,000. 22 grand. Amazing. Chris Shear's guitar went for, I don't know, 15, 2 grand, whatever it was. There was just loads of things. And sort of unique things as well, you know, not everyday things, but the people were buying into it. I loved the people singing in the night, "We Love You, Borough." Everybody stood up. Gary Pattinson. As I say, watch it on YouTube. I don't want to spoil it, but you'll get the night and the emotion. If you couldn't afford it or you were somewhere else and you're a Borough fan, watch it. But the younger people watching it, watch it. Go on my YouTube, just put Gary Pattinson. It's not about me, it's about the night, the 86 team. Tony Mowbray talks eloquently. Bruce Rare, Gary Hamilton, who travelled all the way from America. Amazing, paid for his own flight. Hammy's not a millionaire and a modern day player. Hammy's works hard in America, but he says, "I'll pay my own way." Alan Kernigan paid his own way for Ireland. So when Parky, so what happened, we all got introduced and Parky was last to get introduced and everybody stood up and they were all singing Gary Pattinson. It was an emotional night, passionate night. And the lads just can't believe the bond between them and the fans. Nathan Williams says, if Borough go up, which I think they will, even if they come back down, it gets money into the club and stand us well for the next few years. I agree with that as well, Nathan. That's why we want to get there. We want to get there for the money. But if you don't invest the money, the odds are you come down again. But at least you've got a few quid to get down with. But I'd love to see us get up there and staying in it for a while. You know, just sustain it. Even finish fourth bottom. It wouldn't matter. But I want to see us getting into the Premier and having a go. I remember Karanka went in boring, square, back, negative. Would rather get beat 1-0 than 6-0 because he was scared to go and have a go. It was criminal. 4 wins in a season. Bad. I could have picked lads up for the streets of Middlesbrough to win 4 games in a season. It wasn't good to watch, the results were bad. You can get away with, if you go with negative style and brand, the odds are you're going to get a negative result. But if that happens, you're going to be criticised. But you can get away with any style and brand of football if you're winning. You can get away with that. Because people just accept it and say, it's crap, but I tell you what, another great result. But when you're playing poor and it's boring, don't forget, football's an entertainment. We're paying to be entertained. Did you enjoy going down memory lane with the offside song, Bernie? Brilliant, Stuart. So what Stuart's referring to? So Bruce Rare was asked to go through the team, just one word to describe. So he's saying, so-and-so's this, so-and-so's that. It got to me, and just as it got to me, the whole room also, offside. So I give the 2-finger salute, and I was trying to get the mic to have my say, but never happened. But no, I think that's, that's part of the fun in it. I actually enjoyed it. It was funny as I love the comedian as well, Chris McGlade. He gave everybody, dear God, some people were offended, but hey, come on. Offended, he's a comedian. He's doing it for nothing. And do you know the biggest thing? Gary Pattinson's wife gave me a lovely private text the next day, but one of the things mentioned in, Gary woke up this morning laughing at the comedian and his jokes. That made my day. That was amazing to read that this guy has made Parky smile. So those PC lot, get it right up. You don't give a damn about you. I'm thinking a guy who's got locked-in syndrome, had it in 2010, 24-hour care. If you can't allow him to laugh and be upset because a guy's cracking a few jokes about whatever and you're offended, get a life. Happy to see Johnny Howson getting another year at the club. Yeah, Johnny Howson's got another year at the club. He's 34 at the minute, but as I say, he's a fit lad. In the Premier, would they be a regular? Probably not. But he still play a part. It's guys like Cuba another few years. But saying that, players can sign years contracts. It doesn't mean they're going to be here for years. It's just a rubber stamp for the player and the club that they're going to get more money. There's no if anybody now at Middlesbrough signed a 5-year contract, do you think they're going to see 5 years? No chance. No chance. Those days are over. Ian Plumpton said, there is a rumour Borough will be willing to let Jones leave. Have you heard anything about it, Bernie? Look, the rumours have been right for all season that Isaiah Jones is going to be on the move. I wouldn't be surprised. He's not really featured in Carrick's side. I think he had a wee injury and then he was out and then lost of form and then his partner had their kids and I don't know. But if I was a betting man, I would probably say, yeah, he's going to be off. But there'll be more than him off. They say the lad for Villa, Archie and Ramsey will probably return. Giles will return to Wolves. Stefan says he's not going back to City. I don't know where he's going to go, but it won't be Middlesbrough. So that's my fear. You know, everything's hunky-dory at the minute, everything's good, but if we don't make it, I fear that we'll lose half the team. And then we have to rebuild again. Another season, another rebuilding project, another season in the Championship. Paul Nicholas, thanks for doing your research. Paul Walhurst, that was it, centre-back. I was talking, if you just joined us, talking about a one-season wonder. Paul Walhurst was a centre-back. Blackburn Rovers had problems up front, so they told Walhurst going up there, and he did that well. They kept him up after the season. He must have scored 20-odd goals. 20 plus. Amazing. He's a centre-back. James Mills says, Bernie, still a sportsman, hail, hail. By God, James Mills, right? He's my schoolmate. Never really see him on this because he's always drinking. He's in the Sportsman. The Sportsman's a pub in Glasgow. He went to school with me at primary school and secondary school. And I love him. I don't love his habits, but I love him. And he's just letting me know he's watching this, but he's in the Sportsman, dear goodness. Ray says, Benidorm, me and the missus are both teachers, so we can't afford anything more. Laugh out loud. Hey Ray, I wish I was as clever to be a teacher. My pal's a teacher, my cousin's a teacher. Some holidays you lot get, don't you? You're off more than the lights. Have a great time in Benidorm. Used to go there myself as a teenager. Used to go to the Ponente and the Levante beach. Used to walk from one to the other. Used to love it. I think it's about your Blackpool now, isn't it? You're going to bring one of these stuffed donkeys on the way back and all that, are you, Ray? No, enjoy your trip, you and your missus, you deserve it. My neighbours next to me are actually school teachers, both of them. Mr. and Mrs, they're teachers as well. So have a great time. Even Lenny and Gibbo was there. No, let me say, Lenny, I want to thank Raz Singh, Lenny Lawns, Mickey Hoswell, FA Cup winner for Sunderland, my pal, for coming and supporting the night. Raz Singh contributed a few quid towards. Never shouted it from the rooftops. Gave me a cheque. I handed it to the people who was looking after the money. So sincere thanks. Some people have said in the text, what happened to Steve Gibson? I've got them here. I've not read them out yet. To be fair to Steve Gibson was coming all along, and then on the Thursday, a day before the event, he phoned in the morning. I was still in bed actually, and I says, "Hi Steve." He says, "Look, I'm really sorry. I was looking forward to the night," and he gave me a reason. And for me, it was a valid reason, no reason to question it. And I says, no problem, thank you very much. I didn't address it at night because it was a private conversation, but he wasn't there and he had a good reason. So he didn't just turn up and I'm thinking, where is he? He says he was going, he wasn't one of them. His daughter was there, Katie Gibson was there. So at least a Gibson representative was there. But Steve did have the courtesy to phone, tell us the reason he wasn't coming. That's great. Hey. That's fine. I mean, there was two players couldn't make it, Brian Laws and Stuart Ripley. Stuart Ripley had says that he was in Barbados. He was going to Barbados. It had been put off a couple of times because of COVID. Anyway, he eventually made it. And then Brian Laws was in two minds whether he was going to be in London or not. Turns out he was. But the two of them did video clips, so we were grateful. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to make excuses, but Steve Gibson's was a valid excuse for me, and it was a private conversation. Thanks for putting Parky Night on YouTube. Was a great trip down memory lane for me. Cheers. Bernie, was great to see Parky. This is for Stuart. Great to see Parky laughing. Come on, this is what it's about. Fuck your PC. I've used the F word. Your PC lot. Don't care about them. I really don't. It's a minority trying to rule the majority. I'm not to offend anybody. But if I say something out of sync, I don't want persecuted for it. You know, people get pigeonholed, you're a this, you're a that, you're a that. The comedian, and by the way, the comedian bit wasn't on because it was just too long, but Chris McGlade, we're going to play it next week. So Chris McGlade, you can watch, but if you're easily offended, I'm telling you in advance, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't want you coming on moaning, oh, I was upset and he offended me, offended this and that, and don't watch it. I'm telling you in advance. But if you like a laugh, you like a bit of fun and you're not offended by somebody saying boo, then watch it. You'll love it. Very enjoyable. But Packy loved it. That's all that matters to me. Nathan says, do you think Chuba will be sold regardless of whether Burgop or not, Bernard? What price would you put on him in the current market? Well, he came for under 3, Nathan. He must be worth at least 15 with what he's done. Maybe you're thinking 20, 25. I think realistic, 20, going on 28. First season where he's really been in fire and he's been terrific. So that I think that if he'd done it for 5 years in the bounds, I think it might have been 30 million. But it's one season, 15 million would be it'd be fair, wouldn't it? 3 million to 15, but I'm hoping Chuba stays. As I say, when I interviewed the lad, I just can't believe how good he's been. I'm excited going to the games to watch him. I watch his movement, I watch his runs. I mean, he was getting pulled and hauled and shoved and illegal challenges, and he turned around a couple of times, had a bite, and then his biggest bite was sticking the ball in net. Here, have that. Obviously to no avail because we get beat, but I hope he's not sold. If we don't go up, I hope he stays, but I'm a realist, not a fantasist, and I think he will be sold if we don't go up. Which would be sad, the first guy to score 20 goals in 30 odd years. Would many clubs or passive players look after one of their own, like the lads 86 in Middlesbrough? It's a fair question. I don't really know the answer, but I would guess no. Because the players are all around Europe, the world, at most clubs. So say this team now, who we're raving about under Carrick, and they've been brilliant, I'm not knocking them, but say do you think in 35, 37 years that they could have a reunion and get the crowds that we've got now? No chance. Wouldn't it happen? A lot of the players wouldn't turn up. A lot of them probably forget each other. The fans would probably forget half the team. This team was unique. There were local lads in the main. I was classed as a foreigner, along with Archie Stevens for Liverpool. We were classed as foreigners. Gary Hamilton for Scotland. The rest were for Norton and Redcar, Thornaby, Durham, but Middlesbrough area. And wore the shot with pride, never kissed the badge, just went and played for the club. Wasn't a great deal of money, but we weren't in it for the money. The money came and it was good when it came, but the money came by doing the business and getting rewards. The modern player gets the rewards without doing the business. They get the money up front. They get the money up front before they they either kick their ass or don't kick their ass. They get the money. So if they fail, they get money. If they succeed, they get money. In our day, you had to win to get bonus money. You had to play well in a season or two to get another contract. But as I say now, please goodness, lost touch with reality. I'll be watching. I'm not PC, good man. I still think top 2 is definitely still a possibility, Bernie. Glenn Ball, I've said on here, and if you watch me regularly, you'll know, I've never thought we'd be top 2. Don't get me wrong. I've not written it off, but my gut, I think, no. I would still be in Sheffield. I'd rather still be in Sheffield United shoes all the way through. Now they're 6 points ahead with a game in hand. We've got 7 games left. Nah, it's not. I can't see it happening. It could happen, but I don't think it will. So Bernie, I've read that, Jim. Felty says, great to see Raz Singh, Lenny Lawns, Mighty Horswell supporting Parking Friday night, charity night. I also seen in the crowd Matty Coddington and Andy Campbell. I seen him as well. Matty Coddington was a young goalkeeper. His boy played for Middlesbrough in recent years. Andy Campbell, of course, played, who was, I heard, was sacked by the Middlesbrough women's team tonight. But Andy played for Middlesbrough. Just unfortunate Andy's time. There was guys like Rav and all the big names were around at that time. Very difficult for a local lad to break into these superstars who had all been round the block. Andy was still a relatively young lad. He did score against Man United, Andy. I remember that was a great goal. I thought you had said in advance Steve Gibson was coming. No, I did. I've mentioned that earlier. Steve Gibson had a valid excuse, had the courtesy to phone. Fine, that's it. No problem. I'll come to you in a minute. Derek says, Burnley and Friday, what a game, what a prospect. Yeah, it is. I've discussed that. If Borough don't go up, what does the future hold? I've mentioned that as well. 10 minutes. Fozzie Bear. Is that Fozzie Bear? Typical Warnock still. Good record against us. I think his record's something like... He's obviously been round the block. He's been in the game 40 years managing. I think his record was something like... He's only been beaten twice in 13 games against Middlesbrough. I was going to say typical Warnock, but leading up to the game, Warnock was full of Kadology. Oh, Middlesbrough's a great team. Yeah, they're going to get promoted. I don't know how we're going to stop Akpom. He gave it all that. And then after the first half, you're thinking, well, but second half, dear me. Nelly says, so Warnock had a big go at the chief executive, Bowser. Well, he did. His quote was, after the game, I was delighted to see Chief Executive Neil Bowser in the stands watching that. Obviously, he's having a dig because it was probably Bowser that gave him the dreaded phone call saying that he was sacked. Me personally, I still think you should say it to somebody's face rather than down a phone, but that's the way we've done it. I don't think it's very classy. Warnock's obviously still got an axe to grind with that, and yeah, I'd love to have heard his team talk at half time like. Anyway, Nathan Williams says, could see the confidence in Chuba against Sheffield United away and touch, shift it and boom back the net. You know yourself, confidence is 9/10 of it. Rashford, another example. Without a doubt. Akpom just looks as if he's going to score every game. When you watch him, Saturday he was barely in it, but he looked capable of scoring a goal. And he did. It was a great header. It was a great ball from McGree on the left. Akpom was up a bullet header, bang, he'd take that. Great finish. Don't say I told you so at the end of the season, Bernie. Don't say I told you so. Tell me so. Did I miss something, Glenn? Have I read something earlier? I can't even remember. I swapped Jones for Ross Stewart, Bernie. Laugh out loud. I don't think we get Ross Stewart, do you? Tony Mowbray's obviously, I would think, still hoping to sign Ross Stewart. If you're saying who's Ross Stewart, Sunderland centre forward, fine striker, a dozen goals in as many games, then get a bad injury. Scored against us and then he get a bad injury. Not long after. Jerry Sunderland fan says, away point for Sunderland Friday against Burnley was a great point. Well done, Tony Mowbray. Brian Hartlepool, great 3 point for the Pools on Saturday against Swindon after a few draws. Still sitting bottom, but you know, just hope you can pull away for that. Norman Newcastle fan says, Man United was always going to be a difficult game, but we blew them away. I'm sure the Newcastle players will think they've done us at a cup final here. They beat us fair and square there. We're going to roll our sleeves up. We're going to get in amongst these and we're going to prove our worth. We're at home, front of a packed St James's vibrant crowd, and you've done the business. Jack Newcastle says, Ivan Toney linked with Newcastle for next season. What do you think, Bernie? I think the big man's got about 16 goals in 25 games. Tell you what, he scored a great goal Saturday. Sort of come inside left into the box and just pinned it by Steele. Brighton won it, they were playing. Bottom left hand corner, great finish. But 16 goals in 25 games is a great return. But he has got he's breached the FA rules, isn't he? It was alleged breaches of gambling or something. So I don't know how that's going to fare. I don't know how that's going to go. The next club that sign him, if he does move, he may be sitting in the stands for a couple of months. I don't think he's going to get away scot-free. I don't think the case has been as yet. Tom Sunderland fan says, I wonder if your old mate Mugger will still be in charge next season. His hands have been tied. No recognised striker coming in. Well, I think... I'm sure Mugger is frustrated. No strikers, no strikers with any proven track record. Yeah, I think he went public and says a couple of weeks ago his remit from the chairman or the owner was mid-table. I think he went public with saying that, and some fans were degrading him because of that. Well, what's up with telling the truth? If that's what he's been told, why shouldn't he say it to the press? This is the thing that pees me off about things. People say things to you and tell you things, but you're not allowed to repeat them. I mean, if somebody says to me privately, Bernie, do not say it, I will not say it. No matter who, what, I will not say it because they've told me. But if somebody does something to me, and then I have to go and face the music and everybody's criticising me, why shouldn't I name the people who are making the decisions? So Mowbray's right. If the remit's 12th and they're not going to back him, why shouldn't Mugger say that? Conte's Tottenham. He came out in a rant and went on about they've not won this. It was factual, but you're not allowed to say it. The top boys will call the shots, and the manager has to carry the can every day of the week. I'm not a fan of that. If I was telling somebody to do something, and it fails, I would hold up my hand and say, do you know what? I told them to do that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But some people don't like that. Don't like honesty. Which is sad, really. Where are we here? Top two look like it's gone. This is Bob the Borough fan. Top two looks like it's gone, Bernie. Wembley, here we come up the Borough. Wembley. I tell you what, I'm just hoping I can get a Wembley ticket. 2 tickets I'm looking for Wembley. When we're at Wembley, I'm confident in my heart and my gut. But you never know. Might not get them. If I don't get them, I'll let you know. One of the downsides of that, all the cooperative mob get them, don't they? Some of the guys in the suits who've never been to a game all season jump the bandwagon, the glory trail, and get tickets underhand and go and watch the biggest games of the season. And some of the supporters that watch the team through thick and thin, travel the country, don't get tickets. I've seen it happening. Seen it at UEFA Cup. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. Money talks. Sad. No, in my world, money doesn't talk in my world, but money talks, and the businessmen seem to get tickets before your average Joe who goes to all the games and works his knackers off 50, 60 hour shifts to get a season ticket, and then when it comes to real big deals, when it's the season ticket's up and you have to go and get tickets, they find it hard to purchase. Do you have an outsider to sneak in the playoffs, Bernie, minus Stoke? Possibly. I've not really thought about it, Nathan. I'm too engrossed in thinking about Middlesbrough and what we're going to do. So I've not really thought about it, but you always get one, don't you? Where are we here? Bernie was at the charity, this is for Jed. Bernie was at the charity night at Town Hall. It was absolutely brilliant. Neil says, Akpom versus Warnock. The man that dismissed him at the Borough. Warnock come out in tops, but Akpom at least got a goal. I agree with that. Rod, Bernie, thanks to you and 86 lads for the party, of course. For a fantastic euphoric night. Liam says, why do you think Warnock never got a tune out of Chuba Akpom? I mean, Chuba got about 5 in about 42 games. He was in the team, he was on the bench, he'd injured. It was just the style, the brand, negative coach. Carrick's encouraged attacking football, attacking, passing it around and creating and scoring as many as we can, as opposed to worrying about how many we're going to let in. And playing the same team, and Akpom being in and getting his confidence and Carrick and Woody no doubt stroking his egos and come on, you're good and you've been brilliant, and he has been. But the more slaps in the back he's getting, the more goals he's getting. Bernie, never known a guy who has stood by Middlesbrough Football Club as much as you. Respect to you forever, Glenn Ball. Some people think I don't respect because I criticise, but you criticise your family because you love them. If I didn't give a hoot about Middlesbrough, I would just sit in the fence like everybody else. Well, a lot of the local press and just go, yeah. But I'm an honest man when it comes to football in Middlesbrough. And I love Middlesbrough. My success, their success. I want to come on here saying how good are we and tell my mates in Glasgow my team's in the Premier, what a team we are. We've got a top striker, fantastic. And get things like that. So, yeah, I've been here for many years. An 86 team I played in was the most loyal team you'll ever witness. In the history of the club, you'll never see another team like that was on the brink of going out of business, that went third, second, first, got to Wembley first time in the club's history, weren't getting paid, watching their own game. Watch the YouTube. Watch me on YouTube, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and just watch the parky night. Odds the younger viewers, the younger Borough fans, because the young Borough fans, and I get it, but I don't get it, it's all about now. But look at your history. I've learned the history of your club, Middlesbrough. I feel as if I was brought up a Celtic fan. But I might as well be a Middlesbrough fan because I know the history of Middlesbrough. I know what players, who scored the goals, who kept clean sheets, who was a great winger, who was the best midfielder. I know all about Middlesbrough. So younger viewers on here, urge you, watch it and see the response and the bond between the players, the former players, and the fans that watched that era. 35, 37 years later, the passion's as raw as ever. Whatever. Our goals return this season has been terrific. What has? I mean, we're set behind Burnley, I mentioned that. You've got Ramsey's come in and, you know, you look at last year, you had Billy Connolly up front and I tell you what, we've had some strikers you've even forgot about. Then we had Barrigan the year before, or Barrigan, and then we've had other ones and they've just not done it. But Ramsey looks sharp as a knife. Archer, both of them have chipped in with goals, ice bombs and fire. They all look as if they complement each other. So yeah, and we've been scoring 3, 4 and 5 goals. Terry says, what's your best season in the Borough shirt, Bernie? I think I mentioned this on Saturday, I know. My best season was 32. 32 in a season. And these are the last ones, I think. Yeah, so coming to the end. Yeah, 4 minutes. Tim says, the way we capitulated, lovely word for a Monday night, capitulated against a poor outfit was alarming. It was alarming. Cannot happen again. You know, if we get done 4 on Saturday against Burnley, you would think, well, they're top scorers. But the odds are we won't get beaten 4 on Saturday. And they won't score 4 goals. You know, but the last thing we expected as a team that's fighting relegation, with Neil Warnock at the helm, that they're going to come out and turn us over and trounce us 4 goals in the second half. You couldn't make it up. Couldn't make it up. Why not Fry in the starting lineup, Bernie? I don't think the manager answered that, or the coach, Carrick. I don't think he answered that. He answered when he was asked why did you leave Fry and why did you leave McGree. He says McGree was out because he was ill, international duty. He didn't talk about Fry. Lee says our defending was abysmal against Huddersfield. Stating obviously. Gio says Carrick was baffled by Borough's disallowed goal. What do you think, Bernie? No, the goal, I'm watching on the telly, so it's easy for me. There was a clamour. The referee did look as if he was pointing to the halfway line, but the ball wasn't over the line, so it wasn't a goal anyway. It wasn't a goal. Not even half the ball was over the line. You have to have the full ball, but not even half the ball was over, so it wasn't a goal. And do I think it made any difference? No, I don't. C. Warnock says it's the best result of his career. If you look, he would do, wouldn't he? Oh, nearly. He's some boy for winding up, isn't he? Try to think of the story somebody told me about Warnock the other day. I can't remember. It was something to do with Scousers and Stephen Gerrard was in the company. Mia says, I read a couple of reports as to why Carrick maybe chased, no mention of Fry. Made the changes but no mention of Fry. I mentioned that a minute ago, there's no mention of Dale Fry. Clam says, letting 5 goals in against Brighton in the FA Cup is one thing, letting 4 against Huddersfield Town is another. Well, of course it is, because Brighton have still got a chance of being in that top 6 in the Premier League, in the top flight. That'd be some achievement. Can I just say before we go, this is the bottles of gin. So all these went, my mate Tony, big Tony Wedley, does loads for charity, Teesside Foundation, great guy, he's my pal. Met him through Parky's do years ago, made a lot of money via his idea. We made a lot of money in these through Tony's idea. So that was it. Lad signed the back, Parky's pictures in the background. And it's one of them, I mean, I don't drink, that's just go up there with my champagne over the years, whatever. But that's a memento. But they all went like hotcakes. 86 bottles, £100 a bottle, bang, gone. Couldn't believe it. As a teetotaler, I didn't get the idea for Tony. I was thinking, how's that going to sell? But by God, he got it right again. Last time he did pictures, went like hotcakes, these hotcakes. So well done, Big Tony, and well done. Thanks to everybody who watched tonight. I'm back again I won't be back on Friday. Saturday, I'll do it about 5 o'clock. Saturday, talking about the Burnley game. I mean, it's Easter weekend, isn't it? Everybody will be going here, there and everywhere. Bernie, don't forget to get in your daily exercise, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan, I always do it. I post pictures of a lovely walk last night. I try and go as many walks as I can At the minute, if you've seen my hands, yeah, I've been doing that and people say, what's up with his hand? 2 hands. I was using cement with lime and it burnt my hands. I had gloves on, but just for some people out there, if you're using it, make sure the back of the gloves is not porous. My palms are fine. The back, dear goodness, been burning for over a week. Anyway, I always say get in your daily exercise. Last night I went out, I left about 7:30, up my way, countryside, surrounded with country and hills, and the moonlight was shining, didn't need a torch. 10-mile walk, got back about 10 o'clock, loved it. Fresh air, freedom, I had my kilt on, my sporran, I felt like William Wallace. Fantastic. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. You can listen via audio on Total BS. You can listen via audio, and on my YouTube channel you can watch it visually. The town hall, the parking night, it's just under an hour. It's fantastic. Well, you can tell me if it's fantastic, but watch it. It's really euphoric. It's sad. Packie's there. It's emotional. It's everything in one. And thanks again, as always, to Galaxy Blinds, Cleveland Systems Engineering, Cornerstone Business Solutions, Advanced Utility Solutions, Borough Ship Museum, RWT, that's Richard's World Train Associates, TGM Cars. Thanks to each and every one of you for your support. Up the borough, and we'll see you Saturday. Cheers. Good night. Thank you.